Hey guys, I want to tell you something that I recently learned about anger, and I really know that it'll be of benefit to others. So, I recently had this experience where I was very, very angry, and it was building. It was something that I couldn't get rid of. I'd try and kind of move through it, and it just stuck around, or it kept coming back. I'd feel good for a day, and then it would come back, and I had this experience where I actually just blew up at somebody. I got really upset and I just yelled. And this was very shocking to me because it was something that at that point, it was like I couldn't contain it anymore. And so, what happened right after that is what I'm going to teach you guys and express to you. I've learned that there are two different types of anger. There's that pure anger that happens when it's in the moment. Oh, that was beautiful. There was a little bird. Where it's in the moment and you feel it and you express it, and then as soon as you express it, it's gone. And it's as if there's really nothing there's no residual. Then there's the other kind of anger, and this one occurs a lot in our society because we don't really allow ourselves to express anger. We don't know how to do it. We don't have the tools or the acceptance of anger. So even if we do have tools like, oh, it's good to express anger, go punch your pillow, we don't actually accept it in our society. It's not something that we're comfortable with. So we get all this residual anger, and what that looks like is you feel anger and you hold it inside or you express it, but it continues. It keeps going. You still feel it inside. Sometimes it gets lodged in our body. Anger can be lodged anywhere in the body. It's a very common thing when I'm doing energy work to really feel it in somebody's body or even feel it in my own, right? I'm coming clean here about my own stuff. So, there's the two types of anger. And the first one's great. The first one is what we want to get to because anger can be very pure and purifying. If we allow ourselves to feel it and express it in that moment, it goes away and it's gone and we don't feel it afterwards. That's how we know that it's that pure expression of anger. However, anger is usually a secondary emotion, meaning we use anger to make ourselves feel safe. We use anger for control. And we use anger to cover up other emotions like fear or jealousy or pain or any type of suffering. We use anger as a way to push things outside of us away or to try and control. So that's what we do with our anger. And in that instance, anger gets lodged in the system. And then it doesn't go away, and it's kind of always under the surface. So you'll meet a lot of people like this that are very much wanting to express kindness or wanting to express sort of the, love and light sort of ideas that we have, but you can feel the anger underneath, just under the surface. You can really feel it if you're sensitive to energy. And maybe you're one of these people. There's no shame in that. This is the thing. We need to learn how to deal with it. And I was so ashamed when I blew up at this person. I was devastated. I was so ashamed because here I was trying to express love, trying to express kindness. And what ended up coming out was just this expulsion of all of this pain that I was feeling. So what I ended up doing right after that moment was I got really, really vulnerable. And that is the secret that I am imparting to you right now is when you're feeling angry and you want to explode at somebody, get vulnerable right away. Now, that's something that if you're used to holding on to anger and you're used to using anger as a means to control your life and your environment, your ego's going to be really uncomfortable with that idea because vulnerability is what we're protecting ourselves against when we're using anger all of the time. It's the 4th of July. I'm going to have some interruptions. So anger really is our protection against vulnerability. So for me to say, instead of being angry, try getting vulnerable, the ego has a lot of defense built up against that, and it might feel really uncomfortable. But here's what I did. I had that explosion, and then a minute later I went and I calmed down, and I was so devastated and so sad that I had express such hurtful things to somebody that I got super vulnerable and super real. And I said the most vulnerable things that I could find within myself at that time. I said, I'm scared. This and this and this is happening. This is what I'm afraid of. And so we hear often, I really want to point this out, we hear often that vulnerability is our greatest strength. I really experienced that in that moment. So I want to explain what true vulnerability feels like. When you're really vulnerable, what happens is there's this surge of self-love that comes through your system where what you say in that vulnerable moment is incredibly powerful. And it's so powerful that it doesn't matter what the response is from those that you're expressing this to. You feel incredibly empowered because it's a surge of self-love that's occurring within you at that moment. So that's how you know that you're getting really vulnerable. If you actually feel good and you have this feeling of self-love, you might feel really scared immediately after because you're used to expressing anger instead, and you might revert back to it. But each time this anger comes up, keep expressing your vulnerability. Keep saying, I'm scared. I'm dealing with this. I'm afraid you won't love me. Whatever those really, really scary things are to say those things. Because in the end, it's about really allowing your body and your soul and your psyche to not hold this within and to express it so that you can feel love. Because before I did this video, I listened in, what do I really need to express? And I was told that what we're really all trying to reach is this childlike connection with each other. We want to feel that connection. We want to feel like we matter. And we also want to just be deeply vulnerable and loving with each other. We all want that. But we kind of don't know how to get there. We kind of don't know how to get past this feeling of the need for self-protection. But really, we're all trying to get back to this place of connection and childlike vulnerability where we want to be accepted and we want to be loved completely. So in order to do that, we have to break down those walls within. So if you're dealing with anger, I get it. I come from kind of a genealogy of anger, and it turns out that I'm really someone who ended up carrying that. And it's just control. It's just a desire to control our environment. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. We just don't know how to deal with it in our society. And it's time for us to dissolve those pain bodies and to let go of that anger and to just express and to just recognize that we're worthy of love and it's okay to be vulnerable. And the people that are uncomfortable with that vulnerability, they might leave your life, or you might find that they crumble in that moment as well and express their own vulnerability. It's a really beautiful process that happens, but in the end, remember that true vulnerability, when expressed, leaves you feeling just full of self-love and empowerment. And in that moment, it doesn't matter what happens around you because you have expressed a level of self-love that's very big. So, all right, take care. I hope this video finds you wonderfully well and that you're able to find a way through your anger. If you need to get in contact with me, I'd love to work with you. I do private coaching sessions and group classes as well. Primarily dealing with life purpose and sexuality. So anyway, we can talk about anger too. All right, take care. Have a great day.